According to the United States Surgeon General, we are in a loneliness epidemic. 1 in 4 adults report feeling completely isolated, disconnected, alone. But you chose to cut people off. You looked at your phone, saw their name, and decided, not today, not anymore. And here is what nobody talks about. You do not feel lonely. You do not feel broken. You have never felt more at peace. So when did this start? When did you become the person who walks away and does not look back? You were not always like this. There was a time when you were the reliable one, the friend who picked up at 2 in the morning, the family member who kept the peace, the partner who absorbed everyone's problems like a sponge. You were the one people called when things fell apart, and you answered every single time. You listened to the same complaints, gave the same advice, watched them ignore it and come back anyway, until one day something shifted. You did not pick up the phone, and the world did not end. It actually got quieter. That moment, that was not weakness. Your brain was doing exactly what it was designed to do. Psychologists have a name for this. Dr. Porges calls it the Polyvagal Theory. Your nervous system has different modes, and one of them is designed specifically for protection. When you have been drained too many times, when people have taken more than they have given, your brain does not wait for permission. It flips a switch. It moves you from social engagement mode into what researchers call the dorsal vagal response. In simple terms, shutdown, withdrawal, conservation. Not because you are broken, because your nervous system is doing its job, protecting your energy like it is a finite resource, which, by the way, it is. But here's the question. Where did your nervous system learn that people were a threat in the first place? For many of us, the answer goes back further than we would like to admit. Maybe you grew up reading the room before you could read books, scanning your parents' faces the moment they walked through the door, learning that someone's mood could shift the entire atmosphere of your home. Psychologist Bowen called this pattern emotional cutoff. It is what happens when a child learns that closeness comes with a cost, that love and unpredictability are a package deal. So you adapted. You became the one who could sense tension before anyone spoke, the one who learned that the safest place was often alone. And now, as an adult, that same pattern shows up every time someone gets too close. It is not a flaw. It is a blueprint your younger self drew to survive. But here is where it gets complicated. Because there is a real difference between protecting yourself and building walls that keep everyone out. Here is the honest truth. Not all cutting off is created equal. The Centers for Disease Control reports that prolonged social isolation increases your risk of heart disease by 29%, stroke by 32%. It is not just emotional, it is physical. But here's what they do not tell you. Being surrounded by the wrong people can be just as damaging. So, how do you know the difference? Walls block everyone, the good, the bad, the uncertain. They are built from fear. Boundaries are selective. They are built from self-awareness. If you cut someone off and felt relief, that is data. If you cut someone off and felt peace, that is not isolation. That is protection. The question is not whether you should let people in. It is which people deserve access to your peace. And chances are, you already know exactly who those people are. You have been watching them for years. Here is something fascinating about people who cut others off. You do not do it randomly. You do it because you have become incredibly good at recognizing patterns. That friend who only calls when they need something, you spotted it by month 2. That family member whose compliments always come with conditions. You learned their rhythm years ago. That person who love bombs you and then disappears. You saw the cycle before it even completed. A 2023 study in Nature Neuroscience found that people who experienced early emotional stress developed heightened activity in their brain's threat detection regions. In other words, your brain got really good at reading people. Researchers at the University of Iowa discovered that the frontal lobe, the part responsible for complex social decisions, works overtime in people with this background. You are not paranoid. You are not too sensitive. You are processing social information at a level most people do not even access. That ability to sense when something is off, that is not a flaw. That is thousands of hours of data refined into an early warning system. And when that system says this person will drain you, you have finally learned to listen. Society has a word for people like you. They call you isolated, withdrawn, antisocial. But those words assume that something is missing, that you are somehow incomplete without constant connection. Here is a different word: solitude. Loneliness is the absence of connection you want. Solitude is the presence of peace you chose. You are not sitting alone wishing someone would call. You are sitting in your space, finally able to hear yourself think. Your phone is quiet, and that quiet feels like relief, not rejection. The people who do not understand will say you are running away from something, but you know the truth. You are not running away. You are running toward something, toward peace, toward clarity, toward a version of yourself that simply does not exist in chaos. That is not isolation. That is sanctuary. And if you are watching this, wondering if there is something wrong with you, I want you to hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not cold. You are not heartless. You are not incapable of love. You are someone who learned the hard way that not everyone deserves access to your energy. And instead of letting that lesson make you bitter, you made a choice to build a life that feels gentle instead of chaotic. That is not weakness. That is one of the quietly fiercest things a person can do. And if you are wondering where you go from here, it is simpler than you think. Harvard's 75-year study on happiness found one universal truth. It is not about how many people you have in your life. It is about having the right ones. So, if your circle is incredibly small, but it is full of people who actually see you, you are not doing it wrong. You are doing it right. Protect your peace.